Nemesis Retaliation. This is your review for 2. Good day, my name is Joe. Today we'll be going over Nemesis Retaliation and how it plays with 2 players. Now Nemesis is a 1 to 5 player semi-cooperative game where you'll be exploring this base, uncovering new tiles, going down corridors, fending off intruders, all while trying to accomplish the main mission and trying to accomplish your personal or another objective that you have in your hand. So let's see a little bit more how to play. So Nemesis Retaliation is usually played over about 14 rounds, and I say usually because that's the maximum number of rounds that can be played. Sometimes people may want to escape a little bit earlier or may want to end the game a little bit sooner. That's that semi-cooperative nature that you're going to have in this game. But at the beginning of the game, everybody's going to choose their own character. They're going to get their own deck of about 10 cards or so, and you're ready to go. Your board is going to be pretty bare at the beginning. You're just going to have one, the hibernation room, and then you have the landing zone. And those are the only 2 spots you know of. And as you go across the board, you're going to explore more of these areas. Now it is a card-driven game, so you'll be either playing cards from your hand or discarding them to do different actions on the board. You may need to reload your weapon. You may need to shoot down a corridor. You may need to throw a grenade. You may need to move from room to room. All those are going to cost actions for your turn. You're going to do 2 on your turn. You're going to see if you got fire. You're going to go down on your oxygen a little bit. Then you're going to pass the turn, all while trying to explore the base, uncovering the secrets, trying to do one of your objectives. And then, like I said, everybody wants to do the main objective as well. That's kind of the flow of the player turn, and then it goes into the intruder phase where the intruders are going to burn, then they're going to attack, they're going to draw an event card. One of my favorite things is how does the board state change? What kind of happens in this facility? You're going to develop the bag, which is kind of how you're going to draw these intruders, and then you're going to start the phase. And then you're going to draw up your cards and do it again. The bag is going to have these various tokens in it, and it'll tell you what kind of intruders are going to come out. I won't go over all the rules, but just know there's rules for life support. There's rules for making sure that the lander can land, the auto defense turret. There's drawing these chits. Everybody is a little bit different. Everybody's going to get starting equipment, different starting equipment. You're going to be able to kind of focus your loadout a little bit. Everybody's going to get different support equipment at the beginning of the game and different abilities. It's a lot of fun and a lot of tense moment and definitely a lot of shooting in this game. So let's see a little bit more what I thought about the game. So let's talk about the components, rules, and references. And this game gives you a ton of components themselves. I do have the standee version. So this is our first foray kind of into Nemesis. And we did start with the 3rd one. And I decided not to get the miniatures one for this one and really just one for the standee version. And these are fine. The components themselves, they just give you a lot in this box. What I do like about it is there is very well organized in these trays. The big tray for the box, everything fits really well. I do appreciate the organization that you can do in this game, but there are a lot of components. Now the rules did take me a little bit, and they weren't easy to search. There was a lot of times it was like, what if? What happens when? Since this is my first Nemesis game, a question as far as when I enter a room and there's a door, does it start open? Does it start closed? Things like that are just not easy to find in this game. What happens when an intruder does this? What's the difference between a drone and an adult? These were kind of tougher to find in this rulebook. I also wish there was a little bit better flow for like the player turns and some of that, but for the most part, the references were very good. The rooms told you exactly what you needed to do on the card, or here are your actions. The cards themselves, super straightforward. It says remove a fire token, you remove a fire token. Like, some of these actions are very straightforward, but the rules themselves, that was one of the downfalls, I think, of kind of the experience as a whole. But a lot of components, references were great, just rules that didn't quite flow super well for me. So let's talk about setup and table size. And usually I say setup takes a short amount of time for a lot of the games I talk about. However, this game, the setup does not take you a short amount of time. You know, everything from choosing the character to getting everything out to setting up the edges of the board to shuffling the various tiles, the corridors, getting all the standees kind of ready, getting the bag itself ready, the actual draw bag, making sure everybody has their one item, their one equipment, their deck, all this. And every deck needs to be laid out because you're going to be grabbing all these, you know, all the items shuffled. It's just a lot to get to the table. I would say this is going to take about 20 minutes to actually set up and be ready. I mean, even as, you know, just putting just this life support counter on the board and being ready, it's just going to take you a little bit to set up and, you know, take a sigh and go like, all right, we are ready to play. Table size also going to take you a lot. I think the board itself is going to be a 3x3, and each player space probably needs a good 1x1, if not a little bit more for their cards. So on our 3x6 table, this is taking up just about every inch, and that's only for 2 players. So let's talk about the gameplay. And this is our first foray into Nemesis. So take some of my things as a fresh perspective maybe on the gameplay, because I have not played the other ones. I have seen it at a couple of the conventions I've been to. But I will say it kind of feels like a exploration zombie side. And I kind of like it. It's interesting. It's fast. It's quick. The exploration is there. It's a very good Ameritrash game. We've just been having a lot of fun with it. I like having the personal and mission objectives that you get to keep secret, and when you want to draw a few more action cards, you choose one of them. Having the big mission that everybody's trying to do, also very good. Just the exploration feels good when you find the life support center. You're like, ooh, do I really want to spend my 2 actions to turn it on? It'll kind of help everybody, but does that kind of meet my goals? Is that what I want to do? Do I need to fortify this room? Because a lot of the event cards say if your room's not fortified, an intruder may come in. Do I want to move fast? Do I want to move slow? Do I want to cause a lot of noise? The noise roll I really like in this game. Just moving into a room, rolling the dice, putting these noise counters around, and if there's another noise counter, you know, monsters may come down the corridor. You're going to draw from the bag. Maybe you haven't seen the queen yet, and the queen shows up, and then you shoot the queen, and the queen disappears for a little bit, and then re-shows up somewhere else. The thematic nature of the gameplay is just a lot of fun to us. You will be rolling dice. If you're not a fan of the dice luck, game's probably not for you. If you're not a fan of event decks and random stuff happening, game's probably not for you. But what it is for the people who want to just run and gun. There's a lot of shooting in this game. Reloading kind of just feels fun. Throwing a grenade down a hallway, using a stim pack, you know, it takes a little bit of your turn, but you get your health back. Serious injury. Just a lot to like about this game. I do want to say the negative for the people that aren't as familiar. There is player elimination. Now, that is one of my least favorite mechanics in the game, is when a player dies, they are out of the game. There is a way to revive in the solo and co-op version. But if somebody gets eliminated early, say they get a serious injury and the queen attacks them and says if they're injured, they just die, that feels pretty bad. My wife spent a couple turns just watching me play at the end of the game when I was trying to escape via the landing pad. And it just doesn't quite feel as good. So I don't like that part of the game, but it does make it thematic. You know, trying to kill the queen is very tough. Trying to find the nest, trying to get, you know, just exploring this. Everything just feels good. Feels good shooting. Doing the actions, you know, turning on the different rooms, watching fire in these different rooms, just watching the game play out in front of you is just so neat. I can see that if you play this a few times, you can start seeing the same cards, and it may get a little bit old, but that doesn't mean the games aren't going to play differently. So I have only played this game at 2, but one of the things I still saw was player elimination at 2, and that was rough. I can't even imagine this game at more with player elimination. So how does Nemesis Retaliation play with 2? And we've really had a good time with it, minus the player elimination, which I just talked about. At 2, there's 2 different ways to play. You can play the normal semi-co-op game, and that's what we have kind of enjoyed. But I will say we enjoyed the co-op as well. Instead of getting just one objective, you have to accomplish 2 objectives with 2 players, and each person you add, you just have a different main objective that you all need to complete. You have to complete every single one of them out there. It's just been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun back and forth, the quick turns, the moving around, the you do this, I do this. But I can see this game being more fun at 4, and especially with 5 players. And I don't often say this, that with 5 players, that a game can be a lot of fun, but you're all doing different things. You're changing the map, you're adding intruders, just things changing. And I love one of my favorite things in a game is when I have to be reactive. And with more players, with 4 and 5, you definitely have to be reactive, because you don't. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen before it's your turn again. With 2 players, I could kind of see if my wife was going in one direction and I went into the other. We were kind of changing different sides of the map. But I can definitely see with 4 and 5 just how many intruders are going to be in these corridors. And I even be looking forward to playing this with my buddies at Dads and Dice with 3 players. But man, with 2, we still had a lot of fun. And that's a good testament on how this game would play from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Even solo, you can play multiple hands, but man, I could see how this game could really shine at 4 or 5. This is a very daunting game. When I first set this out to the table for my wife and I, she was very overwhelmed. However, she saw how streamlined the game was, and I think that was a very big plus for her. It was, here's your 5 cards, here's your actions, go try to do the main mission and one of your missions in your hand, and that's it. We'll worry about fire and doors and mechanical failures when those come up, but let's just start playing. And that's been a lot of fun. So just a lot of different ways. This is, kind of a mini sandbox, and the board changes, and you have to be very reactionary, Ameritrash game. And that is really one of the things that I really enjoy when I want to sit down to a table. It's something thematic, ever-changing. It comes out with a good story at the end, and that's what I really like. It is a good game with 2, but I can see this at 4 or 5, that this is where this game really shines. So I'm looking forward to playing it with 3, but with 2, still a good game. But if you can, get a couple couples together and play this game. So that's our review on Nemesis Retaliation, and until next time.